Hey guys, I want to talk to you today about water. And one of the biggest questions we get is, what type of water should I drink? You know, I find that a lot of people are following a really good health program. They're eating clean, they're exercising, they're following maybe a supplement protocol. They've done some testing, like food allergy testing, and they're doing these really great plans for their health. And then to come to find out, they're still drinking tap water. And that's a huge issue because there is a lot of chemicals in your tap water, and those chemicals affect your digestive system, they affect your thyroid, and they just can have a really bad impact on your health. And so a lot of times we miss that concept of getting clean water. So that's what today's about, figuring out what type of water should you be drinking. I'm gonna go from what the best place you can get it from all the way down to the kind of least. Now, when we talk about sink water or the faucet water, the city water, one of the things they put in there is fluoride and chlorine, or two of the things they put in there. So chlorine and fluoride actually are in the halide group in the chemical, if you remember the periodic table, and they're in the same group as iodine. And the reason that's important to know is because when you put chlorine or fluoride into your body actually sees it as very similar to iodine, and it will attach to those iodine receptors on your thyroid and cause a lot of thyroid issues. It's also very antiviral, antibacterial, which will actually destroy and have a huge negative impact on your digestive system. And so one of the things, even with chlorine, that we do for our kids is before we go swimming, like if we're gonna go to a pool, is we'll put a certain like jojoba oil. I think I always want to call it jojoba oil, but jojoba oil, we'll put that on them, and then so it's less absorption. And then afterwards, after taking a shower, we'll actually put apple cider vinegar just to help that acidity of the skin, because the chlorine again can kill the bacteria that's good on your skin off. And so it does the same thing in our gut. So it can have a huge negative impact on our microbiome, our thyroid, and actually does have a huge impact on your brain health as well, because those things can get past the blood-brain barrier and actually affect your thinking. So fluoride is something you absolutely want to stay away from, but it's in our water system. So if you're drinking tap water, you're drinking fluoride every day. And so this whole idea of, hey, you want to drink a certain amount of water every single day, well, if it has fluoride in there, it's actually making you worse in many ways. So first thing before I dive into the type, I will say this, that when it comes to the amount of water you should be drinking, it's different for everybody, and it does not have to be a gallon of water a day. It's not always more is better. I've heard people say that we're 75% water. No, we're not actually 75% water. We're a huge percentage of our body is electrolyte fluid, but not just water. So when you're drinking a ton of water and you're actually depleting your body in electrolytes, if you don't need it. So if you exercise a lot, yeah, you want to drink more water. So a rule of thumb is drink when you're thirsty. You know, this idea of you're hungry, it's because you're thirsty. I don't believe that. I think your body, it will tell you when to drink water. Drink water when you're thirsty. And if you exercise a lot, make sure you're getting enough, because you're outside sweating all the time. One of the things you'll notice is if your body's depleted in electrolytes is when you sweat, if there's no taste to it. Like when you actually taste sweat, it's salty. That tells your body it's depleting it's getting rid of electrolytes when you're sweating, but that doesn't actually happen if you don't have enough. So that's one of the kind of things you can look at. So I'm going to walk you through what kind of water you should be drinking and why it's so important to make sure it's not just water, that there's actually some electrolytes in there. So number one, simplest thing I'm going to say, or not simplest thing, but best thing I'm going to say to do is the number one best way thing to drink is going to be real living spring water. Okay, now this idea of getting everything out of our water isn't actually the best idea, even though it gets rid of chemicals. The best thing you possibly do is get it from a real spring. So if you go to findaspring.com, you can actually find spring water. Okay, you can find a spring in your area. In Charlotte, where we live right now, and I think it's there's a few of them in Charlotte. One of them is a company, Midas, which they actually sell that water, which is great water. But another one is something called Cold Springs Church. So if you Google Cold Springs Church, behind there, we used to do this all the time. You can walk behind there and fill up your glass jugs of water. And you can get glass jugs from Whole Foods for about, I think it's $10.99 for the big gallon glass jugs. So you get a bunch of those, you fill those up, and you keep that as your storage for water. That's the best thing you can do, because it gives you the minerals from the earth, okay? And the earth actually helps filter everything out. So it's actually really good for you. So that's number one. Go to findaspring.com, and that's going to be your best bet. The second thing you can do is drink spring water that's in a glass bottle from a real spring. This is one of my favorite ones. Midas, the one in Charlotte here, is a really good one as well, just harder to find at the stores. This one you can find at the store, and you can actually order from them. It's called Mountain Valley Spring Water. I'm not even going to try to say the mountains that it's from. It's like Ouachita or something like that, Ouachita. That was embarrassing. All right, but this is it. This is the water I like to drink. I can absolutely tell a difference from drinking spring water compared to drinking high filtered water, okay? So that's the second thing, is get you a glass bottle, or get you spring water, but make sure it's in a glass bottle so you're not leaching all the chemicals, the BPAs and all these other chemicals that are in plastic, and it's better for the earth, okay? The next thing down is you're gonna look at your house filters. So a whole house filter obviously is a good idea, but most of the whole house filters do not have fluoride removal. So you still want something that's gonna get rid of fluoride. What we use at our house is something called a reverse osmosis system, and it gets rid of everything. So it gets rid of the fluoride, it gets rid of the chemicals, and once you get rid of all those chemicals, you actually have a remineralizer that we help get minerals back in, and many times we'll put a pinch of sea salt to remineralize that water. Okay, so make sure you hear what I'm saying there, is that you want to get all the chemicals out, but we do want those minerals when you're drinking. So we use sea salt or Himalayan salt to help remineralize our water. And that's what we use at our house. I mostly drink spring water, and when we can, we'll go out to those springs, but most of the time I just get this stuff because I know it's good. But if I'm at the house and I need something to drink, I don't have any of that spring water, I'm gonna go with that reverse osmosis water. It's super clean. Next online is this system right here. We use this at our office. It's called Berkey. Okay, so if you go online, you can look up Berkey, but this is a metal water filter. On the top is your normal filter. It gets rid of your chlorines and all the other things, bacteria and things you don't want in your water. And then on the bottom, you can have actually fluoride filters that will help take fluoride out. Now, fluoride filters don't last as long, so you have to replace those more often. But this is very similar to that in terms of reverse osmosis, in that it gets rid of a lot of stuff. So by the time you're drinking this water, so you'll use your sink water, filters its way through. By the time you drink this water, there's really very little chemicals or anything in it. So again, I also like to remineralize with that water filter. When you're filtering fluoride, you're going to really demineralize your water as well. So we'll put a pinch of sea salt in there. You can actually use, and I don't have these here today, actually I have it on my neck here, let me show you. So this right here, and this is odd, but this right here is something called shungite, okay? And the reason I wear shungite on my neck is it's a rock that actually helps normalize or neutralize electromagnetic frequencies, so EMFs. So I wear we have a little bracelet we wear sometimes, but it neutralizes electromagnetic frequencies. The reason I'm bringing that up is you can actually soak your water in these rocks. It has like an activated charcoal kind of concept where it'll absorb a lot of the chemicals and it'll be a very good filter. So a good way to filter your water is actually get you a bunch of shungite rock online, and you can filter it in there, and then you can pour your water out into a cup and drink it that way. And that also helps remineralize it as well. So there's kind of cool tricks there, but those are my main ways. The next thing down is you get yourself a pitcher. They sell them at aquaspace.com. If you go on aquaspace.com, they sell the pitcher water filters that you can keep in the fridge, and those have ones that get rid of fluoride as well. So that's kind of your next step. They are in a plastic container, which I don't like, but at least you're filtering out all those things. And then finally is going to be your Brita filters, which just gets rid of your chlorines and things like that. At the end of the day, though, go as clean as you can. If you can go to those springs on findespring.com, that's what I'm going to recommend, number one. If you're like, hey, I just want something in my house simple, I'm going to go with Berkey. And if you're someone like, hey, I'm on a budget, but I need clean water, you get that house filter. I'm sorry, that hand filter that you can put in the fridge. Cool? All right, guys, I hope that was helpful for you. Share this. A lot of people don't realize how important drinking clean water is. I mean, you can be doing everything right and feel like you're just hitting a wall, and it could be because you're bringing chemicals into your body, and you're drinking a gallon of water a day, right? Reduce the amount of water you're drinking for some of you, and let's drink clean water. Cool? You guys have an awesome day.